I've been sparring top level pros since I was about 17. So
Can you name some?
Felix, Cash, Fowler, Mikey. Now I do like 8, 10 rounds with like Fowler, Felix, Cash, loads of rounds with them. So
That's it. And Felix Cash,
yeah.
what a talent.
Best win, I'd probably put my best win is I won a youth national title at 75 kilos.
Hi guys, welcome to Notjustboxing podcast. We're here today with light middleweight Joel. He's had 47 fights, won most of them. Absolute powerhouse. He's only 20 years old. I thought he was 30 when I met him today. How you doing, Joel? You good?
Yeah, I'm really good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, really good. Can't complain. And you were saying you've come Portsmouth a few times to sparring.
Yeah, come Portsmouth, sparred Mikey McKinson a couple times. Yeah, really good sparring.
Cool. Was that recently or?
I haven't sparred him for a while. I sparred him for the Chris Congo fight was the last fight I sparred him for, and I haven't sparred him since then.
Oh, nice. Well, obviously everyone saw that was a great fight as well. You must have
Yeah.
been well happy for him after.
Yeah. Leading up to the fight, I was a bit 50-50. I thought Chris Congo's a strong, good boxer, but Mikey just made him look like an average boxer.
Yeah,
an average boxer in there. So
there's so many levels. I seriously thought in that fight as well, before going into it, like Congo was obviously a heavy favourite. He had all the support behind him, but Mikey was always going to be the underdog in that. The way he handled him, I don't know. It's obviously he had his contract with Matchroom, and now he's got Ortiz coming up.
Ortiz coming up was really good, and that last fight I watched, he showed lots of great stuff in that fight as well in America. Yeah. Obviously, late opponent, that makes it hard in itself to just box a late opponent. You don't know who you box in, what style, what stance.
Yeah, because there were two southpaws. I think it was a complete clash of styles anyway. Because we had Mikey on again. Did you listen to the second one?
I haven't listened to the second one. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he was just saying as well. They played him the whole fight week. So he was lucky that they kept him on. He was still going to be co-main event, not main event, but co. And they played so many mind games with him. Golden Boy. They did everything to obviously try and get one of their guys to beat him. So I think he said on the week of, they changed opponents like 3 or 4 times, and Mikey was like, I don't care, just give me whoever, I've come all this way. And by the sounds of it, by the time he boxed that fella, he already knew he was fighting Mikey at the start of the week, but they sent him for a complete merry-go-round all week. They were playing around with his whole entire fight week, and the games they play in America, obviously we do it here as well, I won't lie, from what I've heard. But yeah, that must have been tough. Have you had any games playing with you, even just in the amateurs? Any little mind games going on, or?
I wouldn't say really mind games. I've had, I'm trying to warm up for my fights, and opponents, coaches just standing in the corner staring at me, trying to make me feel uneasy or whatever. But it doesn't really matter. You're just gonna go in there and do what you got to do.
Yeah, and I'm guessing you beat most of their boys as well with your record.
Yeah.
Didn't really work. I remember.
Yeah, it don't really work.
Because I'm southpaw, a few times my coach has got me to do pads orthodox. That way, because same thing. You have coaches; they're always peering, seeing what's going on.
Look over there.
Yeah,
what's going on over there.
And to be fair, we played our own mind games. There's nothing better than last second going in. But I've boxed in only 8 fights. I think I've had 3 southpaws.
Yeah,
which is crazy.
I've boxed. I'd say the majority of my fights have boxed southpaws.
Really?
Yeah, the majority of them.
Wow.
In southpaws.
And how do you beat a southpaw as an orthodox? Is it what's your game plan going in?
I think people just worry too much about them. Box them like you'd box anyone else. Use the jab. They always say use the backhand because it's down the middle, but just use the jab. Mm-hmm. Keep them away with the jab. Then when they step in, throw that backhand.
Yeah, my biggest problem with whenever I box orthodox, my lead hand, if it's southpaw against southpaw like you would normally have, your lead hand you don't have to worry about being too low.
Yeah.
But whenever I'm against an orthodox, the amount of hooks that I've taken, just because my hand's just underneath my chin, whereas you can get away with that when you go against someone the same style.
But see, that's the same with the jab. You can just keep popping that jab over the top, but they always think you should just keep throwing backhands. But I think start with a jab. No matter who you're boxing, really.
Yeah. And what type of... You've probably had all the opponents in the last few years, didn't you? So you said you've boxed for 5.5 years now, including COVID?
5.5 years, including COVID, yeah. So I didn't have competitive boxing for, was it 2 years of COVID? So competitive boxing 3.5 years, pretty much.
That's very active. And how were you during COVID? Did you stay fit? Did you have that mindset?
Stayed fit
discipline?
the whole time. Yeah, stayed fit the whole time. Like, obviously, I got opportunities to spar the pros whilst they were getting ready for their fights during COVID. So I kept busy in the boxing. Yeah.
Probably a bit of a blessing, really. Then you
Yeah.
probably had a bit of time out of competition, but you were still just learning.
Yeah,
learning the trade.
it would have been my first season as a senior, but then COVID came about and gave me a little bit to get used to
Sparring men.
sparring men compared to kids. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I guess what's the style now? You've gone from the juniors to the seniors. Like, is it completely different? Is it because the juniors, their footwork's impeccable. It's a lot more tip tap. I feel like with your weight, it's a bit of a change.
I don't feel like it's a bit of a change because I never really boxed like an amateur. I wouldn't say. I mean, I can box on my toes in and out, but I prefer a little bit slower, taking my time. So for me, it wasn't much of a change, I don't think, compared to other people.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's definitely a change for, I think, most of the people that go from juniors to seniors. It slows down, a bit more power's put in.
Even last night, did you see any of the fighting last night on Boxer Tournament in Sky?
Was that Adam Azim?
Yeah.
I only saw Adam.
Oh, okay. So
which
just
is like 2 minutes or
what
whatever.
do you think of what you saw?
Really good. You know, I trained with Adam quite a bit because obviously he's the same age as me.
Mm-hmm.
And I trained over McGuigan's a bit with Fowler and Hassan. So yeah, he's really good.
Quality. And out of that gym when you was at McGuigan's, what was that like?
Yeah, it's really good atmosphere. You know, obviously Dubois is over there now, and Ellie Scottney, really good. The whole gym, quality gym at the moment, and get great sparring over there all the time.
Yeah, I love what they've done with Fowler. I feel like, from what I have seen, obviously I've never met him in person.
Yeah.
It's just complete judgment. Before he always looked. He's got quite a stiff style. He's quite so, but I feel like he's a bit more loose. I feel McGuigan's really got him into a bit more rhythm.
Yeah.
He looks good. He looks dangerous. I still think, even though he's had some losses, he's lost to some good people, and I still think he's still so early in his career that he could definitely get some big titles.
Yeah, no, I definitely think he's a lot more, as you said, he's got a lot more rhythm. Because when I first started boxing, Fowler was one of the people I used to watch on TV for. This geezer's really good, but since he's been with McGuigan, he's got more movement there, and the jab's coming off nicer, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think he's really improved with McGuigan.
How good was his fight against Fitzgerald? For me, that was probably one of the fight of the year for me.
Yeah, no, that was quality, and I was watching it. Was it the last round that he went down?
Yeah, he got dropped in. I think
got dropped in the last round, and I was like, no. I was right on it for him, but
I was actually cheering on Fitzgerald in that.
I was cheering on Fowler.
Yeah, it was more just, I don't know. I quite liked Fitzgerald's style, and I think Fitzgerald was the big underdog going into it as well.
Yeah.
So as soon as early on you saw how he handled himself with Fowler, I quite like seeing an underdog win. I know off air we were talking about when we watched Fury against Dillian White.
Yeah.
Like, we both wanted Dillian White to win, but unfortunately Fury.
Yeah, it couldn't happen. Fury just has too much about him.
League of his own. And so you said off air, White's your favourite heavyweight. Why would you say he's your favourite?
I just think he's got so much about him, like how he is, charisma. He's funny, and I think I like a bit of power, and that left hook, and the body shots.
Yeah,
is something else.
But did you think he didn't really throw any body shots against Fury? I think in the 6th round he landed maybe 4 clean body shots. That's from what I remember.
I felt like he was just trying to stay away from his shots.
Yeah, he got dragged into it.
Yeah, like the first round I thought was all right. He was digging to the body with a jab and up top with the jab, but he didn't really throw much else other than the jab and a couple of those crazy overhands that he throws.
Yeah, he looked like he couldn't find his distance, and from me, just as an amateur boxer, I was thinking, like, why wasn't he doubling it up in the later rounds? He was just getting into distance with his jab, and then he wasn't throwing anything. And when he was throwing his right hand, he was out of range.
Yeah.
So it was so frustrating as a fan that wanted to see White do well.
Yeah.
Just, he couldn't find his range at all. He wasn't there.
It was just every time he was throwing that shot, Tyson was just doing those little pulls, pull away, so he couldn't couldn't quite catch him. He couldn't quite get used to how far away he was to throw his proper shots.
Yeah. And what's your verdict on Anthony Joshua and Usyk coming up?
I think Anthony Joshua's going to get stopped this time.
Yeah, you think?
Yeah. I think he's going to get stopped this time. Like, first fight, I was sure that Usyk was going to beat him, and I watched it and I thought, I didn't think Usyk was cruising through it, but like, I didn't think he got
didn't put his
out
foot
of
on the
second
gas.
gear that much, and I thought if he put it on him some of the times when Joshua was on the ropes, could have really hurt him there.
And if there was an extra 30 seconds in the last round, it would have been lights out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
So
Usyk
I think it's just repeat.
he
Pretty
looks
much.
bigger, doesn't he? Have you seen pictures of him lately?
Yeah, he's looking big.
Yeah.
Strong.
I think he looks on like you can't judge him by a picture really,
Yeah.
but he looks like he's put on probably like 20 pounds maybe since their first fight.
Extra bit of power there.
Yeah. But then also, is that going to go against him? Because he obviously coming up from cruiserweight already. Is he going to handle that? Is he going to handle the mindset of the war in Ukraine? He's got so much.
Yeah. But I think, he's the sort of person that if he's got something to concentrate on like this fight, he's going to be solely on that, and I don't think the extra weight will bother his footwork or any of that. I think he'll just do the exact same.
And what should AJ do this time to beat him? If you was his new coach that he's got with Angel, what would you say to him?
I think the only thing that he could really do is just really put it on. Put it on Usyk, be a bit dirty, get him on the inside, big body shots and slow his feet down. And then go up top again.
That's what Fury did so well. Wilder, obviously, even just leaning his weight on him. I think if AJ can actually manage that, maybe a bit more. It's gonna be a dirty tactics. But
just take his energy away from him. Yeah.
Have you found that? Obviously, so you've sparred so many good names in the last few years. Have you found that they've got those little tricks that you've managed to overcome now, where maybe you've come across? Can you speak of any?
Yeah, there's like quite a few tricks. I wouldn't say you like learn how to sort of overcome them, but you like deal with them and do them yourself. But like, I'd say there's some fighters that are really good at putting the weight, like as you said, putting the weight on you, tiring you out from that.
How do you get out of that? If someone's leaning on you constantly, obviously you can try and turn them or whatever, but how do you go against that style?
I feel like that, use your feet, or like when they come in, I like to just try and hold my feet with them, dip my knees a little bit sometimes and try and get the shots up so that every time they're falling onto me and stuff like that, I've managed to create a little bit of space for myself so I'm not always losing my energy from them just leaning on me the whole time.
Okay, and I'm guessing the first time that ever happened, you probably didn't manage to create some angles and throw shots.
Absolutely knackered every time, yeah.
And what's it like even having a round of just someone's weight? Because I haven't actually had it really, because I've still only really boxed amateurs.
Yeah.
Like, I've seen it and I've seen how tired these pros get, and obviously they're fit as they can come. Like, how does it feel when you've actually got their weight on you for 3 minutes?
Yeah, well, I like to think I'm pretty fit. I train all the time, really fit. Honestly, I can do 3-minute rounds, amateurs, easy, yeah. Like now I do like 8-10 rounds with like Fowler, Felix Cash, loads of rounds with them. So
that's important. And Felix Cash, what a talent! Obviously,
yeah.
he's huge. It's like only people in the boxing world really know his name as well, which is annoying. Like, he should be a household name, really. I think maybe how he's been promoted, his path.
Yeah, no, yeah, he's a talent, and he's got such a work rate, loads and loads of shots, head and body, constant power. It's not like, that sort of, there's one powerful punch and then the rest are taps. They're all like high level power.
They all hurt.
Digging them in, yeah, they're all good. Yeah, but 10 rounds with him, I think, as a amateur, obviously I'll be turning pro soon, but that's just given me a sort of step up compared to all these other people turning pro. I've already done 10 rounds with Cash, done 10 rounds with all these people. That it's given me a little bit of an advantage over these new people.
That's so good. And obviously you just said you're going pro soon. What is your goal with that? What's your plan? Are you going to try and, like, obviously the route for most people that we know, you do have the journeyman route where it is needed. You're gonna have the right opponents and build yourself with maybe a good highlight reel of knockouts because you're powerful. Do do you want to sort of fast track it though? Because you've already had the experience with these top level guys. Do you feel maybe if you had 15 fights with journeyman, you're probably gonna regress in all of this in the last 5 years that you've already done?
Yeah, so like ever since I started boxing, I'd call it a pro style, you know, hands high, like power shots, body puncher, and I like to take my time and pick my shots rather than in the 3 3-minute amateur rounds. I feel rushed, like I can't get anything off properly. So pros is where it's at for me. So I don't want to fast track it, but I don't want to like start too far back. I want to start with a 6 rounder because I'm already doing 3 rounds as an amateur. What is an extra round? I may as well do another 3. So start with a 6 rounder. I will start with journeyman, but I don't want to do many. Then I want to start being in a bit more competitive fights. Then crack on with some titles.
Yeah, that sounds brilliant. And then obviously you said you had already had a professional style. Sitting on punches and things, is that already been taught of you by your coach? What coach have you got at the moment? Have you had the same coach?
So I've always had the same coach. Always been at Guildford City Amateur Club. But I always like.
And what's your coach's name?
Ben Harmsworth. But I've always watched pro boxing. I never got into amateur boxing for amateur boxing. I always wanted to be a pro. You know, I always watched Haggler. Haggler's my favourite fighter ever. So just watching off them fighters, trying to see what they do, doing it myself, and just practicing, you know, everything that I've seen them do.
Nice, practicing your craft. And what's your favourite Haggler fight?
Well, I've got a tattoo of Haggler Hearns on my right shoulder, so nice. Haggler Hearns.
Yeah, that's probably my favourite Haggler fight as well. I think when he boxed Leonard, it was quite frustrating to watch. Even though obviously we weren't there live, like even just watching it on repeat, it's quite a frustrating fight. Just seeing the clash of styles there.
Yeah, he couldn't really get off his work that he wanted to do. Yeah,
and what a story he's got. Do you know? I'm guessing you probably know everything about
quite a bit. I think quite a bit about him. So yeah.
Yeah, he grew up in the hood. Didn't have much. Was he shot as a kid? Maybe.
I'm not sure about that.
But like when I read his book, he was saying like, you know, as a kid, you growing up, you hear gunshots every day in the street, and it's so bad. And I think he's always just had that hard work ethic, and he never got recognised. Yeah,
no. So what was it? So he boxed Leonard for the Olympic qualifier, I think. Obviously, Leonard won. Leonard went off to the Olympics and
got gold
for his for Leonard's first professional fight. I think it was like he earned some ridiculous amount of money.
I think it was $1 million or something. Was it 100 grand
like
or
200 grand, something like that? And Haggler had a fight in some sports leisure centre for $20.
Yeah.
For his first fight, so he really had to build up compared to where Leonard already had it sorted for him.
But do you think that's also what made him great, where you saw that discipline, where he just locked away?
Yeah, for Haggler, it was all his work rate, all his determination. So I think, that the fact that he had to work for what Leonard already gave to him probably fueled him.
His motivator.
To be the fighter he was, yeah.
Yeah, and even Leonard, do you know much about his story? Obviously,
not loads.
Well, he had so many ups and downs. Ended up getting hooked on cocaine at one point later in his career. Obviously, when you've got all the money and you've got everything, he had his childhood sweetheart that he married. But then, obviously, as a professional fighter, where the whole country knows you, you know, you go everywhere and you're loved. You know, you get dragged into parties, you're with celebrities, you're living that life, which for most people, like, you know, none of us would know how to handle that. So he just got dragged into the wrong group, and he said at one point, like, he had to just do coke every day. Like, if he had an interview, like, he would have to make sure to check his pockets, just to have a quick line of gear or whatever, just to keep him going. Which, you know, at that point, when you see someone that was already that confident as a kid, that was a star, you just see the sort of the rise and fall and the comeback that he had.
Yeah.
But with Haggler, he's so special in so many. Just his determination with just everything, and obviously Hearns, he was a freak back then. He was
massive. We started at welterweight, did he start at?
Yeah, and then he won titles all the way up to. All the way. Was it light heavy?
I think light heavy. Yeah, so light heavy.
Was it 6 or 7 weight world champion or something crazy? Yeah.
Crazy, but I mean, they all obviously they all met at middleweight, but they're all, I'd probably say, greatest fighters in their own weight class. Haggler, middleweight, Leonard, like welter, same as Hearns, and then Duran, lightweight.
Yeah, he was way smaller.
Completely out of the weight class, really.
Did you hear that he got bet at a party in Panama when he was a kid, and they said, "I bet you can't knock out that horse," and it was like 10p or something, and he was drunk. He'd had like a bottle of whiskey or whatever, and he's gone up to this horse, landed a hook, and just dropped a fully grown horse. And obviously it's a bit of animal abuse, and some people won't find it funny, but
No.
like in Panama, you know, anything goes there back then as well. Like he grew up on the streets, so you obviously know a bit about him. Like, you know, he come from nothing. These guys, they're cut from a different cloth. Now, like we were saying off air as well, in America that you go into soon, their style's amazing, it's slick, like you see their personalities and how good it is, but the styles of these guys that we're talking about back then, the best fought the best, they're all tough and they're all game. And you know, you could have a 15-round war and they would still go. Like no one would quit. Whereas now, well, I say that, you had no mass, didn't you?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it has changed a lot now.
You struggle to get them like fighting each other. Like I love Crawford, but when is he gonna box Spence? It's like it's gonna take forever. There's just like, because obviously Crawford's a great, amazing boxer, but he hasn't got that much of a following for a boxer of his level. So.
And he's been on the pound for pound list for 8 years. 8 years,
yeah.
Something like that. You know, he's been up there the whole time. And yeah, I think Spence, they're talking about the contract, but I actually made a meme as well. It's a picture of a skeleton sat on a bench, and it's like me waiting for Crawford and Spence to happen. Yeah, but I'm going to post that at some point. But I think it will grow better with age, because I actually made that meme 6 months ago, and it's still annoying.
Yeah, it's still going on. I've saw some stuff about it yesterday, but you know, they say that they're going to be signing it, but they're not gonna. They just won't.
But then what paycheck are they going to get? Because I think they're promoters out there as well. It's not like you've got someone like Eddie Hearn that's giving AJ like 100 million and shares in DAZN or whatever's going on. I think with Spence and Crawford, even though it's a battle of the greats, I think they're both still businessmen. And like Crawford's how old now? 34?
He's getting on.
Like he's come to the end of his prime, and like you don't want to see them be like Amir Khan and Kell Brook. As good as that fight was, finally, you know, at the end of the day, if you saw Kell Brook in his prime against Amir Khan, well, Khan was in his prime a lot earlier, but if you saw them 7 years ago or whatever, that would have been fireworks.
Completely different fight. Completely different.
Last thing we want to see is, you know, Spence and Crawford in 3 years' time when they're past it, and they've probably had a few losses off up and coming guys like. You know, even Conor Benn, because he's quite young, someone like him, he could easily get a fight against them in the next few years. And if he gets the win when they're at the end, and they've like no one knows what's happened to Spence really with the car crash.
With the old crash, but he looked, I thought, just as good, if not better, in his last fight with Ugas. So
True.
I'm
and
not.
Who do you think was going to win in that?
I thought Spence was going to win, but I've watched that Ugas for quite a while now, so I thought it would have been harder than quite a lot of people were saying it was going to be. So, but he made it look easy, I thought.
Yeah.
So.
What do you think makes him so great? His style.
Obviously, southpaw, so it makes it a bit more awkward for other people. But I think he's got really great shot selection, and the way he did in that Ugas fight, it was targeting the body, and then every time that Ugas was falling in, he was bringing the uppercuts up, just catching him with whatever Ugas did wrong, so dropping the body, bringing him up.
It was textbook. And I think I feel Spence, one of his good traits are he's always first and he's always last. If he's in an exchange with a really good, obviously he's got a good resume of fighters now, when he's been against these tough guys, and obviously they are landing shots on him, he's always dominating. He's always getting that last shot. He's always got the upper hand. He knows how to win the rounds, which is IQ. Same with Crawford, to be honest. Obviously, their IQs are knowing how to win, knowing like how many times you've been in a fight where you think you're winning, and then maybe you look back on it, or even in a spar, and you look back on it and you actually see, oh, maybe it's questionable. these guys know that they can win those rounds.
Yeah.
Like they know how to win them, which that's what makes them so great. That's what I think. Yeah. And lightweights, we're talking about.
Lightweights.
You love Tank, right? So
I love Tank, but I don't think he's the best of the lightweights. I think Haney at the moment is probably the best. I think technically he's got all the shots and the movement, and obviously I thought Kambosos was a good boxer, but I didn't think. Obviously, I thought Haney would deal with him quite easy, which we saw. But it'll be a different fight if he fought someone like Tank. But I still think he'd, move around him, outbox him, pop him with shots. He's not. I don't think he's quite the stoppage fighter, but he's definitely got all the skills.
yeah, I think that's just because Devin Haney's style as well. He's not looking for the stoppage. Like, he's happy to outpoint you. Like, when he boxed Jorge Linares, you saw when he got tired in the later rounds and there was a lot of the hugging and a lot of things, he looked a little bit exposed there, but still he sort of held on. So I think Haney's style, he's not the type of blowing it, like blowing his gas tank halfway through the fight trying to get a stoppage. Like, he'll happily cruise.
Yeah,
he'll happily...
calculated, move around, pick his shots.
Yeah, very smart.
Yeah.
But a lot of people are saying Tank, obviously... He's been outboxed against Leo Santa Cruz. Rolly was outboxing him. A lot of people still say Tank's a really good boxer, which of course he is. But who else is outboxing him? Who else has Tank fought that before a knockout they've just had the better of him? Who's the other lad?
But at the end of the day, he's knocked him out, hasn't he?
Yeah.
So
he's not gone against a top 5 fighter like Haney, a world-class fighter, where what's the chances they're not going to make a mistake and he doesn't get the knockout?
I just feel that Tank, he relies on slowly they'll tire and he'll land those big shots. So I do think he'll get outboxed at like the top level, but I think he'll take out most of the ones around there.
Lomachenko, do you think he could knock him out?
It's a tough one because obviously Lomachenko's always moving, always. I don't think he would, but could all get caught with shots.
Yeah.
He got dropped from Lopez, didn't he? And he got dropped by someone else, did he?
But also Loma's come up a few weight classes, and Lopez shouldn't even be he couldn't even really make weight with George anyway, Kambosos. So like you could see when it was Loma against Lopez in the first 4 rounds, Loma didn't even want to take them shots. He was so calculated. Like, I wouldn't want to take a shot of Lopez. Because he lost to George Kambosos, a lot of people have already written him off now. But he's so powerful, man. He's just a natural powerhouse. He's a knockout artist, really.
Yeah, no, I was watching like some of his knockouts as he was coming through, and I'm thinking he'd be a good fight for the top boys, and obviously he ended up winning all the titles. But yeah, he got writ off for that fight, but he came and fought the fight completely wrong. Against Kambosos. But I think, obviously you saw Lomachenko he said he had that shoulder problem from that fight with Lopez, and obviously no excuse, but you rewatch it and you can see that he doesn't really use that arm at all through the whole fight, and I feel like if they fought again it'd be a different fight really. I feel like Lomachenko could move around him, pick him off with all the shots.
100% agree. And how Loma's in your face, even if he's not throwing anything for 3 minutes, he drains you mentally. How he can just sit in front of you and you don't land a shot at him. Like, I couldn't...
Slightly moving from side to side.
Yeah, I love the Ukrainian style. What do you think of light heavyweights coming through? Obviously, it's all Russia right now. You've got Bivol.
Beterbiev and that.
Who wins out of them two? Unification.
I think Beterbiev. He's just a machine. It just comes forward. Well, he's a good boxer, but just comes forward, lands all the shots. I don't think Bivol will be able to handle that. I think Bivol's a small light heavyweight. He'd be a big super middle, but he's a small light heavy. And Beterbiev's a big light heavy with big shots, and I think he'd end up, just being too much over the rounds for Bivol.
Yeah. Have you seen the training of him? His wrist training, like the stuff that they do. Like they're hitting the heavy bag with like bare fists, and they do push-ups and then they land on their wrists, and they land in all these weird spots that most people you would collapse and break your wrist. But he's got such good, and also with the barbell, he has a 20-kilo barbell, and he's twisting it like a stick, and he's just catching and twisting, and the wrist strength you need for that, and your forearm.
Yeah.
Like that's
unreal.
Yeah, that's a different breed. But I think a lot of the Russian style, the way they go through the ranks, like their foundational fitness and everything, it's really good. The Soviet style.
Yeah.
Even their wrestling, I think in school, don't they all? I don't know if you know much about it, but
No.
in a lot of Eastern Europe, like they all go through the same sort of military style training as kids, where your foundational fitness and strength is already there. So when you go into any sport, you're already well adapted. Whereas, for example, in England, if you've never done any sport, never been to the gym, and you start boxing, well, you're probably going to have a lot of imbalances. You're not really going to be strong. You're probably going to have a lot of problems, you know. But these guys and girls are already so well built that when they go into any sport, they're successful.
Yeah, they're already fit. They're already strong. You know, whereas we'll have to build up all our fitness, all our strength compared to them. Yeah.
100%. And so back to your sparring, like this is what I'm most interested about having you on. So I don't want to ask any questions that are too personal, but out of all the spars, who's been some of the hardest spars? Who's been your hardest hitter? I want to hear a bit more about people personally.
Yeah, so obviously I've been sparring pros, I'd probably say, since I was 7. Well, top level pros since I was about 17. So
can you name some just off the top of your head?
Felix, Cash, Fowler, Mikey, McKinson, Kevin Agiarco, Josh Kelly, Linus, Sadofia, Denzel Bentley. Yeah, loads.
It's a stacked list. You got British champions and
Yeah.
So who was the hardest puncher, first of all?
Hardest puncher? They're all, different sort of punches. It's like Agiarco's really explosive. Like, and I feel like he's the one that, like, he'll slip your shot, and his shots are so explosive, he'll knock you out. That sort of power. So
what make you miss?
Probably him.
And then who would you say is the trickiest boxer when it comes to just trying to land your shots on them and just trying to win a round against them?
I'm not sure. They're all, all different, tricky in their own way.
What's Josh Kelly like?
I sparred him. So when did I spar him? I sparred him before that Avanesian fight. So sparring him for that Avanesian fight, he's good. In and out, throwing loads of shots.
I love his what's that little highlight reel when he lands like 8 hooks on
8 hooks in a row. Yeah,
that's sick. But I feel, so what happened with his gas tank and stuff? Did he also have COVID and have problems? Because you probably know it more than...
I'm not really sure, to be honest, but I just thought in the fight that, Avanesian, he just comes forward, and I felt like we said earlier, having someone on you all the time, laying on you, just that pressure with his feet just tired him out, and collapsed after that.
Yeah, that was tough, because I don't know, I had the expectations of Kelly winning that fight. I didn't write him off, David, but I don't know, I just thought with his class, his pedigree, his slickness, I thought he would outbox him quite easily, but yeah, he looked tired and it looked all wrong for him, really. So I don't know, how would you, if you were Josh Kelly and you wanted to, obviously because he's coming back, he had a fight recently too, right?
Yeah, he had a fight the other week, I think. I didn't watch it though.
Yeah, I didn't see it, unfortunately. What was that on? Who's he with now?
He's with that Wasserman, so like Channel 5, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so obviously he's still going strong, but he sort of reminds me as well where Kelly's got a little bit of an amateur style still. But he reminds me of, did you see the Mick Conlan fight against Lee Wood? That war?
Yeah.
Like, Conlan was obviously on his back foot, light on his toes, picking him off, landing nice shots. But oh my God, Lee Wood.
Yeah.
What a warrior. To come back off the canvas looking like he was just done for.
Yeah. I thought Conlan was going to win that, but Lee Wood just kept going, throwing them big shots and caught him right at the end. Yeah.
Relentless. And so in your weight category that you've got right now, so who's in your weight category at the moment in the pros?
So, I'm not sure, to be honest,
Are
is
you
it?
sizing anyone up at the moment for when?
Nah, not really,
No?
not yet.
Not yet.
I'll get started and then I'll start sizing people up.
And so you said going to US soon, going to go California.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go California. I'm gonna do 3 weeks training. I'm gonna try and get around some gyms. You know, Wild Card, Blue Moon, Buddy McGurt's gym, that 10 Goose and gym. I'm just gonna try and get in there, get some sparring, see what I can do.
Brilliant. Who knows? You might not come back. It might be a bit longer than 3 weeks.
Yeah, I might just stay there.
Are you going to get a single ticket out just in case a coach takes his liking to you?
Maybe, we'll see.
Yeah, that sounds good. Well, especially from obviously the sparring I've seen in the pads. You know, for 20 years old, you're explosive. You're going to be a big problem in the pros. I've not really seen any of your amateur fights.
Yeah.
But like you said as well, in the amateurs, you can't really judge a lot. So
No, it's what I feel every time in the amateurs, a little bit rushed. I can't always do what I want to do because it's like, as I said, too rushed. You can't get the shots off you're looking for. I feel like Bros is where I'm at, and we're gonna see me boxing better in the pros. Even though I've already won stuff in the amateurs, you're gonna see another level up in the pros. So.
And what would be your ideal team when you go pro? Is there any certain gyms out there that you're really keen to try and be a part of? Like obviously since Fury was at the Kronk recently,
Yeah.
I know there's been quite a few people that are trying to get a ticket
I'm
out
not
there.
really. I'm not fussed on having like a hyped up team. I just want a coach which I get on with, that I feel like I'm learning all the time with, and can get me the fights. So just anyone really that can keep me learning, keep me getting better, and then obviously I'll do the business myself.
Brilliant. And what promoters look good to you if you had to sort of try and sign with a promoter? Is there anyone, you've probably spoken with a few already maybe?
I haven't really spoke to anyone. I'm gonna start speaking to people after I've come back from America. I'm gonna have a little bit of a chill out, train, keep it going, and then get it all sorted a bit later. But I'm not too bothered on who I sign with, sort of. I just want a good platform so I get loads of views, and a good deal. Whatever deal looks best, I'll probably go with that one.
Especially you saying starting with a not a 4-rounder straight off the
Yeah.
bat, you know, moving into
Six
a
rounds.
6-rounder. Like from what we know already, ticket sellers and things like that, if you're going to go down that route, you know, to do a 6-rounder, you might have to do 100 ticket sales off the bat, and you're going to have a good platform behind you. Of course, I'll support you the whole way. I think you're a great talent. Like I've seen your videos already. And quick question actually, in the amateurs, who's been your hardest fight and who's been your best win? Because I know obviously you've pretty much fast-tracked the amateurs, how busy you've been.
Yeah. So best win, I'd probably put my best win is I won a youth national title in at 75 kilos. I had 6 fights to get there, so I boxed all the way through. I won all of them unanimous, and then I won the title in Manchester via unanimous decision again, and I gave him 2 counts, one count, 2 counts.
Solid.
Not quite sure. And that was against the coach who kept staring at me in the change rooms.
That guy.
Yeah, and yeah, that was probably my best win because
Who was that guy?
Danny Steele.
Okay.
Danny Steele, yeah. So he boxed for England like 2 weeks before I boxed him. But it was probably my best win because the whole lead up, 6 unanimous wins, big win in the final, given counts, you know. So it was just overall good experience to get all of them wins in throughout the whole tournament, and then top it off winning the whole thing unanimous again.
Yeah, that's quality. And what would you say has been your toughest fight in those 3 rounds?
Toughest fight. I don't feel like I've ever had like a really, really tough fight. Like I feel in 3 rounds as I said, you don't really. By the end of the third round, I feel like you're sort of just starting to kick on. So like fights, the hardest fight would probably be. I'm stuck on this because
that's all right.
yeah,
Well,
I don't really know.
I understand why you'd think that as well, because after you sparring with all these top
Yeah.
level pros, I'm guessing when you are in amateur fights against, you know, sort of people your own age
Yeah.
and everything anyway, it's not the same. So
Yeah, and
I
I'm
fully
used
get
to the longer rounds with the pros, and so at the end of 3 minute rounds, you know, I feel like I'm just getting on. So it doesn't feel tough. Like it doesn't feel like I'm working too hard or I'm like really struggling or any of that.
What's your favourite punch to throw or combination?
Favorite punch.
Most
I
successful one?
love a good left hook. I love a good left hook, or just a straight backhand. You know, had my first fight after 2 months of training. Had my first fight and I won by a knockout with a backhand.
Nice.
So
That was a great start
yeah,
to your...
it was a good start. Yeah.
Cool. Well, you don't get paid for overtime, do you?
No. No. So
Brilliant. Well, mate, thank you so much for coming on. It's been a pleasure having you. All the best turning pro, and I look forward to having you on in the future once you are pro.
thanks a lot. It's been really good being on it, and look forward to coming back when I'm pro and get a few wins on them records. Then I'll get on here.
Brilliant. Thank you. Cheers, guys. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Stay tuned. Thank you.